Hello, Peter4789 Cyrus here, and well, the announcement trailer for the new Tales game has officially been released. That is to say, we finally had the opportunity to see the new mainline Tales game that Namco Bandai has been working on since Berseria was released back in 2016 in Japan, with that Tales game now being unveiled as Tales of Arise. Unveiled at E3 of all places, if you can believe. I personally thought that the next mainline Tales game trailer would be unveiled at like Tales Fest or even Tokyo Game Show, so to see it unveiled at E3 is a pleasant surprise. And if you guys haven't watched the trailer yet, I'll play it for you right now and then discuss my thoughts on it later.
A tale can be woven from either fact or fiction. On our mother planet Dana, it has been handed down that Rena, the planet in the sky, is where the dead and the divine reside. Rena unleashed disaster upon our planet Dana, robbing us of our history and freedom. A destined encounter of two people born of different worlds. Can they deny their fate and forge a new path? Now is the time for change.
So that's the announcement trailer. To say that Tales of Arise seems pretty different from what Tales fans were expecting would probably be an understatement. But I think it's different in a good way, at least personally. Let's now get to what is perhaps the most expectation-breaking element about the trailer, that is to say the visual design of the game. I just have to be 100% honest here, the visuals are just goddamn amazing. It looks so good! This is perhaps the first Tales game that I can confidently say that feels like it belongs to the current generation. Don't get me wrong, I wouldn't say the past two Motherline Tales games, i.e. Zestiria and Berseria, look terrible, but you can still feel that Berseria and Zestiria's game engine was still based on the capabilities of the PS3 and then ported to the PS4, which they were. So to see them actually change to a different game engine, which is by the way Unreal 4, and see the game wholly designed for the current generation, just great, with the result being some really awe-inspiring visuals. The character models for one looks great, while the character design still retains that Tales look to them, and the character design also looks pretty cool, with the male MC having this badass Dark Knight vibe to him. Though I will say that he does strangely look similar to Flanker from Final Fantasy XIV. I'm also a fan of the female design too, with her having a very pretty look to her, that has a degree of elegance and class to it. It's also awesome to see her wielding a rifle as a weapon. That's pretty badass, and I can't wait to play as her when the game comes out. With that said, she does look strangely like Lila, but I'm sure that's like how Guy and Flynn looks pretty similar. Heck, even with Mila and Velvet. Anyway, moving on to the other parts of the visuals, the animation looked fluid and on point, the monster design looked cool as all heck, and the environment. Oh god, do the environments look fantastic. The one city that was showcased in the trailer looked grand and intricate, and the field environments had the Xenoblade feel to it, and that's a good thing, with it feeling expansive, but still with a ton of character, variety, and detail. With it even giving this open world feel to it similar to, again, Xenoblade. At least from what we've seen. Which, overall really makes me want to go explore these environments. It looks so good! Well, moving on from the visuals, what can we say about the story from the trailer? Well, not much since it only highlights the setting, which indicates that we're going to have a two-word motif within the game's story beat, which in itself is a Tales tradition. more specifically about the relationship between Rena and Donna, about how Donna is being exploited by Rena for their resources, while Rena itself is looked on as a planet where the divine and dead resides. So it'll be interesting to see the world building that comes from that, see what type of stories will spring from such a setting, and to see how the protagonists react to each other, since it seems like they're from opposing planets. There also seems to be a motif around changing fate, when the narrator was briefly talking about the two main characters we see. As for the music, well, it sounds good, but I can't really say a bit indicative of the game, since the Western Tales promo of recent years have had music specifically made for the trailer and not be in-game. So yeah. Well, let's talk about the gameplay seen in the trailer, though it's shown very briefly. I would say it looks interesting. Seems like they're trying to go for the no screen transition thing again, which was seen as Zestiria. Hopefully they learn from Zestiria and design every area with this element in mind, since Zestiria was a pretty big miss in that department, where if there being areas in that game that was clearly not designed for the type of transitions that game had. But I will say I can understand why they would want to go back to this type of transition by looking at the environments that the trailer showcased. Again, really hoping they really nail the transition this time around. Though I'm confident to say that the developers knew what they did wrong in Zestiria's camera issue, since Zestiria's own control scheme was partially designed like it was due to the camera issues seen in Zestiria. So I'm hopeful. Next thing to see is that we have a dodge roll now, which is pretty cool, especially since it seemed to cover more distance than the normal sidestep. So it'll be fascinating to see the type of fights that are designed around having this type of dodge. The boss fight with what appears to be, or I'm at least assuming, Ifrit, also looks pretty cool. Pretty different from the usual Tales boss, especially with how large scale it seems to be, but still overall really cool. I guess the last thing to comment on is the character fighting style, which seems neat with how the female main character is using a rifle, which isn't something you usually see in a Tales game. I mean, Tales game similarly have characters with guns, but they were usually like pistols, so seeing a character wielding a rifle has piqued my interest, since the only other character to use a rifle in the Tales series is I think Pascal Shot Staff and Ricardo Sniper Rifle. With that said, I'm also interested in how the male character plays like, too, due to how he's wielding two longswords, which gets me to think he'll have different fighting styles, or at least different arts when using each sword, since it seems he switched between the two longswords he had. Well, that's more or less my thoughts on the Tales of Arise trailer. Overall, I won't deny that this game looks pretty different from the usual Tales game that we've had, but I'm still pretty excited since it still looks really good. But that's all from me, folks. Hope you guys enjoyed, and tell me what you guys thought of the trailer. This is Peter4790, Cyrus, signing off.